What's the deal, my people? You know, there's a Don Tony Teflon, and I'm back at you, another one. And in this edition of recasting Game of Thrones, the hardest recast to date, we will pull off today by recasting the head of House Lannister, probably the greatest actor the show has ever seen to this date. We will recast Charles Dance as Tywin Lannister. Now the Don recognizes that he is in an almost unwinnable situation. And let me stress the word almost. Because people are in love with Charles Dance. And why not? He embodies Tywin Lannister. Now we know that from the books, Tywin Lannister is supposed to be bald with some mutton side chops. But I think that Charles Dance has done such a good job that they don't care about what the books say he's supposed to look like. People would rather him look like Charles Dance than the actual description George R.R. Martin gave him. And this happens from time to time with certain characters, but I think Charles Dance has done this to the fandom. And I think we've seen this a couple of times. I'll give you a couple of examples outside of Game of Thrones. One is Samuel Jackson as Nick Fury, and another is Jon Bernthal as the Punisher. Both people who look nothing like their comic book characters, but have took the role so well that people don't care about the comic book characters anymore. They'd rather see them in that aspect. Also in the Game of Thrones type of way, I will say that Tyrion Lannister has most likely, Peter Dinklage has most likely pulled this off with Tyrion Lannister, because I don't think people want to see Tyrion Lannister the way he's truly supposed to look in the books. They'd rather see Tyrion Lannister look like Peter Dinklage. So in dealing with recasting Charles Dance as Tywin Lannister, that is most likely the biggest obstacle, or it is the biggest obstacle that I really have to overcome in doing this recasting. Because people are just cemented in seeing him in this role, and they really don't want to see anybody else in this role. And not that I want to see anybody else in this role myself. I think the man's perfectly casted for this role. I love Saddam Moonspa, and that's what he is to me, because I used to love The Golden Child with Eddie Murphy, and that's what I remember him as, the first movie I ever seen him in. So I love the man in this role. I think he's great. Yet we have a series to do here, folks. I have a series to pull off. So I had to go and dig deep to find somebody to replace this man. Now, if I'm going to say one thing that I could try to grasp at to try to recast him and find someone who could do something better than him, I'm going to say that Charles Dance is not as mean as Tywin Lannister is in the books. Now, I picked this scene, what I'm showing you here, because to me, this is the meanest he's ever shown or portrayed in the show. And this is the first scene that we actually get introduced to him. But ever since this and after this scene, we never really see that meanness, that Reigns of Castamere type meanness. A person that is willing to drown a whole population just to get revenge. I don't really see that from this Charles Dance after that scene. I think he plays the more of a politician role. So I was looking for someone who is a little bit meaner or can project meanness on screen maybe a little bit better than Charles Dance. Now another thing I'm looking for here is someone that has a very imposing voice. Charles Dance's voice, it carries, it just carries through the screen. You feel every word that he says. You believe every word that he said. So I'm looking for somebody else who has that same type of presence when he's talking, that demands that same type of respect. And that's pretty hard to do. But those are the things I am looking for. And also someone who can act just as well, if not better. Which I don't really think you can do a better job. So someone who could act just that well as Charles Dance. Another obstacle in recasting this character is that Charles Dance is in his 70s. Alright, we know Tywin Lannister is in his late 50s, but Charles Dance is in his 70s. So I'm looking for an actor that is in his 70s just to make it all fit and make it all work. And that's hard because a lot of great actors have passed away. English actors have passed away that could have filled this role. But I do believe I have the man for the job. And I think that this guy could definitely, all the things that I said, he definitely embodies them. With that being said, in this edition of recasting Game of Thrones, I, the Don Tony Teflon, recast Charles Dance, Tywin Lannister as Sean Connery. Now, I cannot see anyone telling me that Sean Connery could not have played this role just as well as Charles Dance has. I mean, come on, people. This is Sean Connery we're talking about. And I know I had to pull out the big guns for this one, but this is Charles Dance we're replacing. So I had to find someone who's at least the same or even more iconic than him. And we talk about the classic Lannister looks, the best looking people in the realm. Then we talking about the man who played James Bond, who's better looking than him when he was younger. When we talk about someone whose voice carries over, whose voice it carries over more than Sean Connery. When we talk about someone who commands respect when he walks in the room, who commands more respect than Sean Connery? And this man is a real life knight. In real life, he's a knight. So come on, people. You tell me, do you like this casting or do you think that it's not as good? You put it in the comment section and let me know the deal. And if you want me to cast your favorite character, put it in the comment section. Whoever gets the most votes is who I cast next. And make sure that bell is hit so you are notified every time I upload the video. And if you like the way I do this, please thumbs up this, please spread this across the realm, and please subscribe. And until next time, you know who it is. Peace and stay sexy.